The Protestant Reformation was, to put it bluntly, not well received by the Catholic Church. It wasn't long after people like Martin Luther and John Calvin launched their attacks against the Church that Western Europe was bitterly divided over what the correct Christian practices were. But in the East sat the Orthodox Christian world, created from a previous falling out with Rome, who must have had their own opinions of what was going on. So what were those opinions? How did the Orthodox world react to the Protestant Reformation? So, as of Martin Luther's theses, the primary centre of orthodoxy was Constantinople, which was under the Ottoman Empire and itself oversaw two other major Orthodox centres, Kiev under the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth and Moscow, run by the Muscovites. And to all of them, their reaction was largely negative with some caveats. Starting with Constantinople, because the Patriarch there was the highest-ranking person in the Orthodox world, the reaction was largely one of concern. There was no love for Rome in the East, but the Reformation wasn't initially about founding a new church, but about reforming the existing one, which to those in the East just meant that they were still Catholics, just ones getting it all even more wrong, which meant any Christian unity would be much harder. And also, these heresies had a tendency of spreading, which was not something they wanted in their own lands. But, barring these initial thoughts, there wasn't much in the way of formal communication between Orthodox and Protestant Christians for many decades. Whilst the theological realms didn't at first interact all too much, this didn't stop the political ones from doing so. And in Moscow, Tsar Ivan IV, better known as Ivan the Best Dad Ever, had both a severe and optimistic response to Protestantism. For him, this heresy weakened his Catholic neighbours. And previously, such schisms had led to civil war, meaning that for Moscow it presented an opportunity for westward expansion. Personally, though, the tenets of Protestantism disgusted him, and his primary concern was these ideas spreading into his realm the same way that they had done in Prussia and Poland and Lithuania. And guess what? They did, leading to several high-profile prosecutions for what was then known as frivolous thinking. So, back to churches talking. There was some optimism in the late 16th century that the Orthodox and Lutheran Church could cooperate, and in the eyes of some, even reunite. And the first step in this was seeing if the doctrines were compatible, and this was done by sending the translated Augsburg Confession to the Orthodox Church in 1575. This was a list of 21 fundamental pillars of the Protestant faith sent to the Patriarch of Constantinople, and he was not pleased with them. He responded that 7 of these creeds were outright heretical, and so good luck in hell, and whilst the Orthodox Church agreed with the rest of the articles, Lutherans were doing them wrong. At first, the Orthodox Church tried to push for cooperation with the Protestants, but it won't shock you to know that both sides were pretty firm in their beliefs. And despite more communication, by the end of the 16th century, both denominations had accepted that there would be no unity between them. And so, the Orthodox reaction to that was the same as it was for Catholics. They were just heretics. And for the Protestants, the feeling was mutual.